Right, welcome back. Thank you so much for still being with us right here on The Bottom Line KE. My name, as always, is Eugene Anangwe. Right here on the program, we hope to have conversations that are solutions focused and to get to understand the political nature of events ahead of 2022. My guest in studio right about now is none other than Nelson Havi, the president of the Law Society of Kenya and member of parliament aspirant for Westlands. Asante sana for staying with us, Mheshimiwa. Okay, mimi nitakuwa nasema hivyo. Can you allow me just to say that tonight? Mheshimiwa. I know we'll have time to converse about yes, we'll have time to converse about your tenure at LSK, plus of course your ambition for Westlands, but allow us to just take a bit of time to talk about current events. Of course, from the legal perspective, we now have the employment court stopping KEMSA from sacking its workers and replacing them with KDF and NYS personnel, pending hearing on application by KMPDU on November 16th. There's a lot that has been going on from the corridors of justice as far as, overturning of directives left, right, and center. What is your quick take on this? Reprieve for the employees, or this is just, the calm before the storm for them?
I think the government of President Uhuru Kenyatta has really tested the limits of the confines of the Constitution. Mm-hmm. Going to the extent of taking over a statutory body in this manner, laying off hundreds of staff in the name of reining in on corruption, is an anathema. And it is welcome that the court has given reprieve, although in the interim basis. Yeah. I've been instructed by the workers. I'll be filing a petition on their behalf tomorrow, which is quite substantive and vast, encompassing many issues as opposed to that pursued by KMPDU. Yeah. And it is our expectation that the court will put an end to this aggression against the Constitution, the rights of the staff of KEMSA, and the determination to militarize all civil departments of the government of Kenya. It should not be condoned.
It should not be condoned. President Uhuru Kenyatta is on the record having argued that there seems to be a blockade from the legal spheres, those who are in charge of doing investigations and all that, during this particular fight against corruption. In this particular case, the argument would be the government is trying to rein in on corruption at KEMSA, and then they're slapped by a court order to stop the particular process. What would be the ideal situation in fighting corruption? We know it's in the public domain of the corrupt incidents that have happened at KEMSA. What would be the ideal situation in dealing with that, as opposed to what you say is a mundane way of dealing with corruption, militarizing the agency?
The statements from His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta that we in the legal fraternity ought to allow him to run the affairs of government unhindered is one that should not rest in our ears. Because yes, he's been given the mandate to serve the people of Kenya as the chief executive of this republic. But that mandate is based upon an elaborate framework of the law. It's based upon constitutional principles on good governance. And he cannot wish this away. And when people go to court to complain about transgressions, violations of the Constitution, it is incumbent upon him to realize that the rule of law cannot be wished away. Kenya is a constitutional democracy. It is not a monarch, it's not a dictatorship. If there is one to give way to the other, it is him to give away to the rule of law, and not us lawyers to permit him to continue abrogating and violating the Constitution.
Yeah, but in the real sense, Havi, we haven't seen in some incidences, or most of the incidences, the president giving way, as you say, or as you'd expect. We have court orders which still go unimplemented, for lack of a better word. For example, the NMS boss is still holding office, and I'm sure that he still participates in cabinet meetings, despite the fact that this was ruled as unconstitutional. We still have the Kenya Meat Commission still operating under the guidance of the changes that the president made. Do you see the legal fraternity, including the judicial system, having been reduced to, for lack of a better word, barking dogs that don't bite, or there's a time that all this will come to bite the president?
Look, Uhuru Kenyatta will not be in office forever. By September 1st next year, there'll be another president in office. Mm-hmm. All these things that are being done in violation of the Constitution and the law will be put aside, especially for those that we have determinations by the court. And woe betide those individuals who continue benefiting from these wrongs. It will be a sad day for them when they will be called to answer for themselves, because President Uhuru Kenyatta will not be there to defend them. So for instance, look at the case of NMS. Mm-hmm. Look at those designated, so to speak, assistant ministers who ought not to be in office. These state agencies that are being converted into military installations. All of it will have to be reversed, because the moment President Uhuru Kenyatta is out of office, then of necessity, the things will need to go by the wayside.
Right. And the argument that things become much better when these changes are implemented, would that hold any water? Because, for example, we have seen a section of Kenyans who have been praising the management of the city under the Nairobi Metropolitan Services, NMS, when they compare what was there before and today. We have had the president also claim that the Kenya Meat Commission is now actually more, the profits are more as opposed to when it was being managed in the previous administration. Would these kind of arguments hold any water amongst Kenyans, but also in the defense of the actions of the president?
There are models to governance. The models that are being adopted here are suited for places like China. The model that we have in Kenya is based upon the democratic system that was borrowed from the United States of America and the United Kingdom. And there are no two ways to it. There are two aspects, especially when it comes to the Nairobi County. Choices have consequences. The people of Nairobi decided who they wanted to be their governor. But that notwithstanding, there is provision that enables the transfer of the services of the county government to the national government. And if there was really need to do that, as it is quite apparent in this particular case, it will have been done by giving those powers to a civilian authority. The only pitfall here is to designate a serving general to assume civilian functions of the governor of Nairobi. Therein lies the problem. And I think after testing the blood, insofar as that issue was concerned, the appetite of the president has become insatiable. That's why he's extending his reach by trying to militarize everything. And we don't need to go far. We've seen what has happened in several African countries where the military has been allowed to take the law onto their hands. We are fortunate here in Kenya that whereas there have been 2 attempted coups by the military, they never succeeded. So for all practical purposes, Kenya has never been a military country. It has always been a civilian country, and it should always be that. There could be benefits that inure out of these schemes, but the question is, why is that so? Why hasn't civility not prevailed upon those who are given the opportunity to serve in order that they serve? I believe it is because the appointive choices, the elective choices have not been well exercised, with the result that there is an urgent demand to deal with matters with military precision. Yes, the military always does their work pretty well, but they must be confined to the barracks in order that what requires military precision is left there. Here is civility. It must be done within the confine of the law. However speedy the outcome that is desired may be achieved through the military process. It should not be permitted. Look, what if the military think, for one reason or another, that the manner in which the entire government is being run is not proper, and they take over? Do we want to go there? No, we don't want to go there.
Right. And the argument that, if it is working, then there is a commander-in-chief who is the president, and so he is able to have certain powers under the executive orders, which you can be able to elaborate for us. In which particular sense would what is happening be considered as good, or everything its in entirety is just bad, these changes that we are seeing?
No, it's based upon an erroneous premise. It is bad from the beginning. Those who do not adhere to the rule of law may want to praise the good out of it, but it is planted in the wrong field. It is the wrong seed. Whatever yields out of it should not be praised, should not be embraced, because there is the propensity of outreach to demand more of it. And these things have happened before. I always use this example of France, of Napoleon Bonaparte, that the people can make you emperor, the people can make you prisoner. So you need to be very cautious about the demands you want, about the manner in which you want to govern. If you are elected through the ballot, then you must serve within the confine of the law. And I will not at any one point in time tolerate or countenance whatever people call the benefits of these schemes. They're detrimental. They do not sustain democratic space. That is why you can see many people giving up, the opposition being folded up to become part of government, because they don't see a future. They have been plummeted to a point of oblivion where they must accept everything. But Kenyans should never be reduced to that point where we must always accept everything. No, it's not proper.
Right. Before we move away from this particular topic, you've mentioned that individuals will carry their own cross after President Uhuru Kenyatta ceases to be president.
Yes.
What about President Uhuru Kenyatta now as ex-president? What are the potential things that could happen in this case? What kind of cross do you expect or see?
No, Kenyans as a people and Kenya as a state and as a democracy is very mature and forgiving. Look, as a leader, you'll make your mistakes in office. I don't think it would be proper to pursue President Uhuru Kenyatta when he leaves office. Let him go on retirement. Let those who will be there thereafter suffer the consequence. For instance, they need not just be jailed, and even jailing may not be the ultimate solution. They should be declared unsuitable to hold public office, be it appointive or elective offices. I think that would be the best deterrent against a repeat of this misbehavior.
Yeah, but when you say that, some people would still feel that this has never been practical. The aspect of declaring an individual unfit for holding office in this country, Kenya. We have leaders or former leaders who have had integrity issues. But today, these are the people that it will not be a surprise if 2022 they are elected into office.
It will eventually happen. It will eventually happen. Did Justice Mumbi Ngugi not declare the former governor of Kiambu, Ferdinand Waititi, was unsuitable to hold public office? And he went ahead to run for office. To what end? Has the outcome not been achieved? You can fool some people sometimes, but you won't fool all the people all the times. So it is only proper that if you accept the responsibility to serve the people of Kenya, you do it within the permissible limits of the law. Otherwise, you will end up causing damage that really need not be caused. Look, the problems we have right now at Nairobi County, at Kiambu County, are the best examples of what can happen if you overreach, if you fail to act in accordance with the Constitution.
Yeah, but on the flip side, these people, if we go by elections as a way of proof of democracy, then the people of these particular places actually came out in large numbers to vote for these leaders who eventually got, impeached and removed from office. What does this say then of the people, the electorate, when it comes to the choices that they make? You've mentioned earlier that choices have consequences. But that seems to be something that doesn't make, or is neither here or there for a majority of Kenyans.
Well, choices have consequences, but there are safety nets that are set by the Constitution itself. Chapter 6. Some of these people were allowed to vie, notwithstanding clear evidence that they ought not to have run for public office. Yes. So let us create the dichotomy with clarity. Choices must be exercised within the permissible limits of the Constitution. That is why Ewan Kriegler, in his report, said the culture of impunity is one thing that we need to work on. These institutions that are given the responsibility, for instance, of ascertaining whether somebody has the necessary academic and professional qualification, they must do their work. Institutions that are tasked with the responsibility of investigating corruption and integrity must do their work. IBC itself must also do its work. For instance, you get a case where somebody has been permitted to run for a particular public office that required certain academic and professional requirements. He's run for office, he was cleared. We've never seen his classmates. You've seen my classmates from class 1 to Form 1 to year 1 at the university. And therein lies the problem. People must do what they're supposed to do. Institutions must perform their function so that when eventually a decision is being made on the ballot, it's a conscious decision. Because at the ballot, people will not have the wherewithal of verifying some of these things. No wonder, therefore, the Constitution has allocated those responsibilities to certain governmental agencies. And those governmental agencies must perform their job. For instance, if they do their job in the manner in which they are required to do, we'll not have a problem. Look, Anangwe, if they are to come today and tell you that my degree is forged, of course you'll tell them, can you tell us something? Because you've seen, everybody has seen, you understand? If they are to come today and say that I acquired my shoes through corrupt means, everybody will know what they're saying is bullshit, because people need to be able to see how somebody has risen to where he is. And the responsibility must be exercised by those given the power to do so. Not to mean that it must be abused because of the examples that I've just enumerated to you.
Right. A brave new bar. This is the clarion call you ran with for office at LSK. Your tenure is coming to an end. Do you think, when you look back, you're leaving a new brave bar?
Absolutely. If you have any doubt about that, ask yourself, why is President Uhuru Kenyatta lamenting that we lawyers must allow him to do his work without legal intervention? And in many ways, 5 years before I assumed office, the Law Society of Kenya was not heard. In fact, it was complicit in many nefarious enterprises of the government to subvert the will of the people, to contravene the Constitution, and to make administrative decisions that impaired the rights of the people. But when we assumed power, we came in with a bang. On 16th of April 2020, we convinced the High Court to give an order directing that the police should respect fundamental human rights and freedoms in the enforcement of the curfew. Had we not done that, many Kenyans will have been decimated in the enforcement of this curfew. There have been so many administrative decisions that have been made by this government that we have successfully challenged in court. Look at the minimum tax. Look at the attempts to bring the judiciary within the control of the executive.
Yeah.
Let's move out of that field. Let's go to Parliament. We have effectively monitored legislation. We've checked Parliament to ensure that it is not used as a conduit of rubber-stamping executive overreach.
But yet this Parliament has been termed as the weakest in terms of the powers and the, vigor of all parliaments we've had.
Yeah. In fact, if you are to watch the clips, I think it must have been the debate in Mombasa, sometime on 14th of February 2020. I said, Parliament has been emasculated. And what better way to see the manifestation of that emasculation than to look at the decision made by Chief Justice Emeritus David Kenani Maraga, saying that the President ought to dissolve Parliament because it is not properly constituted, it has failed to enact two-third gender-compliant rules. But more recently, you've seen Parliament rubber-stamped an enterprise that was intended to dismember and destroy the Constitution. The High Court and the Court of Appeal invalidated that exercise. And monitoring legislation was one of the key pillars that I ran. Lawyers are now well respected. You understand? When the curfew was declared, I got lawyers the essential service provider card that enabled them to work at night, to travel at night, to travel inter-county. And despite the drastic effects of the COVID pandemic, I believe I leave the Law Society more brave than I found it. And the mere fact that the executive and the legislature keep on lamenting about what we do is an indicator that the lost glory of the Law Society has been found.
Right. What do you tell or say to people who claim that actually the Law Society of Kenya was captured by the enemies of the current regime, such that every time the regime wants to do something, there's always someone running to court? That argument that the president says you don't want to give him peace to do his business. How do you explain to someone who has that line of thought that you guys were captured, you mewekwa kwa mfuko to make sure that President Uhuru Kenyatta and his government do not have an easy time administering the administration?
I'm too big to be pocketed. I think that is a matter of public notoriety. Now, are there people who benefit from what we do? Yes, many of them. In fact, some in President Uhuru Kenyatta's government, because yesterday's oppressors are today's oppressed. Now, if you go to Jerusalem, there is and you'll find it in the Old Testament, the city of refuge, where everybody will run for the elders to determine their case, even if they'd killed somebody. So what we do as the Law Society of Kenya, what we do as lawyers, what I do as Nelson Havi, as the president of the Law Society, is given to us by the Constitution. And it does not matter whether it's Tanga Tanga, whether it's Keleweke, whether it's ODM, whether it's Wiper, whether it's who and who benefits from what we do. They will always make this lamentation that we're doing it at the behest of a so-and-so. But the fundamental question is what we're doing lawful? Is what we're doing constitutional? If it is, it really doesn't matter who is alleged to be financing us, who is alleged to be our beneficiary.
Yeah, and that brings us to the question of Deputy President William Ruto. It's in the public domain that you have had scenarios where you've visited and had even photo sessions with him. And these are the things that probably sometimes raise that particular flag. This is a best time to just clarify on some of those issues. What's the relationship between you and the Deputy President? Well,
Dr. William Samoei Arap Ruto is the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. I'm the President of the Law Society. Many do not understand that the President of the Law Society of Kenya is a public office. So I hold a public office, he holds a public office. And I have visited him on several occasions to discuss matters of national importance, rule of law, and constitutionalism. You will ask, why am I not seen in photographs with President Uhuru Kenyatta?
Correct.
I made attempts to meet up with President Uhuru Kenyatta even before I assumed office upon election. The hand was not stretched at me, you understand? I've made attempts to meet up with the Attorney General and the Solicitor General, then to discuss the issue of the appointment, swearing in of judges. They never welcomed me, you understand? Dr. William Samoei Ruto has welcomed me, and I don't see anything wrong about that. I will meet anybody in government because as public officers, it's our responsibility to do our part. But anyway, there's no problem about it. A leader without controversy is not a leader. So let the controversies thrive. I like controversies, if that is your question.
It brings us to that name that you've been given, Che Guevara.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, there's a video of even the chaos that were happening at your neighboring offices right here. Yeah. And you were very calm with your chai as everything was going on. Let's talk a bit about the turbulence in your leadership as far as the management is concerned at the LSK. Do you see this as politically instigated? Do you feel that these are normal squabbles that would happen anywhere for Haliwawili huwa wapo? What is your take as you bow, take your bow as LSK president on the rumbles that have happened at LSK? If
any Kenyan had doubt about my lamentation that the woes we had experienced at the Law Society were being funded, financed, and orchestrated by the state, the events of the 10th of August 2021 should be an insight and a confirmation of what I said. You saw Francis Mudhui, the OCPD, come to our offices with a battalion of almost 60 armed policemen, cut the gate with a chainsaw, tear gas some of us, allow goons to get into the premises, to break the door, maim, injure and hurt council members, and destroy property. What evidence do you need? It has never happened in the history of the Law Society. Jomo Kenyatta, Daniel Arap Moi, Mwai Kibaki, they never sent policemen to the offices of the Law Society. Do you know why this is being done?
Why is it being done?
It is because of the BBI. It is because of the dissolution of parliament. It's because of the executive orders that we have challenged. To the extent that the activities of the Law Society became an eyesore to the government. But the failure is this. Those in government who have been misused to pursue this enterprise think that they're cutting me down to size. Have they cut me down to size? No. Did we not succeed in convincing the Chief Justice to advise the dissolution of Parliament? We succeeded. Did we not succeed in invalidating the BBI? We succeeded. Did we not succeed in invalidating all these administrative decisions that have been undertaken in violation of the Constitution? Will I remain in the LSK forever? No. So by undermining the LSK, you weaken that institution, you understand? But I don't believe they have succeeded in weakening that institution. Lawyers are now more enlightened. They're quite aware of the extent to which the government can proceed to try and undermine the leadership of the Law Society.
Right, but in law, Nelson, they say that it's important to, to provide facts on the table in terms of evidence, and which will be followed by a prosecution to be able to prove that that particular incident or that person did do what you claim they did. We haven't seen that, Nelson. Could this be just...
In law, we have something, we have a terminology we call recipsa locita. It speaks for itself. If you are a Maasai or a Meru, they will tell you, if an elephant passed here, you will know from the destruction. What were the policemen doing at the offices of the Law Society of Kenya if you require evidence that this is state interference. But look, I am a person who moves with agility out of any conundrum or tumult. We've moved out of that speedily. We got a court order barring the police from interfering with the affairs of the Law Society. And it is my expectation that whoever will succeed me will never be subjected to things of this kind.
Yeah.
No wonder I need to be in Parliament to entrench the rights due to lawyers, to sustain the independence of the bar through elaborate legislation, because there appear to be a few gaps in the Law Society of Kenya Act, which are being filled by interlopers, individuals who want to meddle in the internal affairs of the society, either former officials of the society, government officers, or interested groups. Yeah.
The politics of Kenya has been considered as, a space for quick wins in terms of finances and just get rich quick kind of space. And any time someone says, I'm vying for this particular position, it's usually very difficult for a majority of people to believe that they want to go there and create change. And some have even argued and said it's not a must for you to be in elective position to effect the change that you want to see. And also, you alone, Nelson Havi, seated in that particular parliament, might not be enough to actually change all these particular things that you say you want to change. What are you not telling us about your quest to want to be Westlands MP?
Well, I've told you everything about my quest to be Westlands MP. And what you allude to could be partly correct. And I think it is informed by the fact that in every electoral cycle, whenever you elect people to parliament, they make promises, but they don't deliver.
Yes.
No wonder there is that apathy, there is that despair and loss of hope. But for me, there is a proven track record. Even before I became president of the Law Society of Kenya, Nelson Havi was a brand in the legal fraternity. We had achieved several milestones as myself, but there are certain limitations that attach to the ability of an individual to perform.
Yeah.
That's why you need an army. That's why you need a commander. So when I sought to run as president of the Law Society, it was the realization that this office will provide a platform where what I will do will not benefit me alone, but will benefit a majority of the lawyers, many people in Kenya. And that has been self-evident. And having pointed out in my 3-point agenda the inadequacies of Parliament as an issue that I needed to address, and having satisfactorily addressed that issue, then the next frontier where an opportunity avails itself for me to serve the people of Kenya in a more vast, participatory, and encompassing way is Parliament. So I want the doubting Thomases like you to have hope. Whenever I go to the field and I'm talking to prospective voters and they tell me, look, we have given up, I always ask them, do you give up seeking to sire a child because you failed in the last attempt, because there was a miscarriage, because the child died? No, you don't. You continue with the hope that what you get next will be better. And for me, I want to assure the people of Westlands, the people of Kenya, that it will be different. And you don't require a multitude to bring change. Change has never been brought by a multitude. Change is always brought by one individual. Because human beings, like any other animals, will follow good or bad leaders. If they follow bad leaders, they will take them to a perilous destination. If they follow good leaders, they'll take them to a prosperous destination. So tag along with me. I've set a 4-point agenda which I need to pursue in Parliament to ensure that we have good laws for the benefit of the people of Kenya, to ensure that there is proper oversight of the executive insofar as appointments are done, the functions of state agencies and state officers are undertaken, to ensure that there is equitable distribution of the national revenue so that the entire country benefits. And lastly and fundamentally, to bring infrastructural development in Westlands with a view to uplifting the living standards of everybody and alleviating, if not eradicating, poverty.
Yeah. But the question would be the how. I know we don't have much time, but of course we have had a lot of aspirants who have these kind of promises. But the question has always been, how do you do that? I mean, just maybe real quick, how do you intend to deliver on that? Unless if it is too early to say for purposes of strategy for fellow competitors who would want to provide.
No, it's not too early, neither is it complicated. You see, the reason why people lose hope in their leaders is because you believe in false constructs, you believe in false promises. When I said the 3-point agenda for LSK, people thought they were simplistic.
Yeah.
But the most complex issues are the simplistic of the enumerated matters. What I've enumerated as the 4-point agenda appears simplistic. However, if you are to study the Constitution and the CDF Act, you'll realize those are the only responsibilities of the Member of Parliament. And they are set out in the Constitution and legislation. Easy to achieve if you are selfless, if you are determined, if you're going to Parliament to work for the people, not to make money for yourself or to hide the money you've acquired. I'm not going to Parliament to make money for myself. I live a decent life. I'm not a very wealthy person. I'm not the richest lawyer in town. But I live within my means. I'm happy where I am. But my happiness can only percolate to the society, to the people of Kenya, if I can thrive in an environment where I'm not being asked, nipatie pesa ya chakula, nisaidie pesa ya kupeleka mtoto shule, nisaidie pesa ya kupeleka mgonjwa hospitalini. Yet, there is sufficient public finance to enable the development of facilities, infrastructure to deliver this.
Right.
You understand? Yeah.
So which party then? That's the question.
I'm a registered member of Amani National Congress. So, and this is a matter of public notoriety. Of course, whenever I go to the field, I meet people who tell me, no, hii kiti ya Westlands utapita tu kama unaenda na ODM. Hii kiti ya Westlands utapita tu kama unaenda na UDA. You understand? But what I want the people of Westlands to understand is this. Come 9th of August 2022, after you've elected me to be your Member of Parliament for Westlands, party affiliations will cease because all of you will require that I serve you irrespective of your parties.
So you've already listened to the ground and you've decided it's ANC back last?
I've listened to the ground. ANC is the vehicle that I'm driving now. But what I want the people of Westlands to realize is this. I have come to serve you as Nelson Havi. I will serve you as Nelson Havi. A party is a vehicle through which we're going there. We may run, we may crawl, we may walk, but we must go there. So make up your mind based upon my track record, my ability to serve you, not on the basis of the party where I am in, not on account of the party where you will wish me to be in. Understand?
But Nelson, I mean, that has been the trend for Kenyans. There's a time.
Yeah, there is a trend, Anangwe.
Yeah.
And
does it worry you that the vehicle should matter?
It worries me that the vehicle should matter, but I must also reconcile to the fact that Kenya is a multi-party democracy.
Correct.
Where party politics dominate. But party politics have been abused. That is why you guys keep on lamenting after every 5 years. It is good that we sustain parties. Parties must have ideologies. But fundamentally, the ideologies of the parties must be based upon the Constitution. And when you have a selfless individual like myself who is running for office, even if ANC is perceived by those without the benefit of greater learning to be a small party, don't look at it from that perspective. Look at it from the individuals in NC who are seeking to serve you. You understand? That will help us in bringing lasting change. Do I have more time, or you want to send me home?
Just we have about 5 minutes to wrap it up. Yes.
Still at it, today I posted on my social media handles a request for campaign finance.
Yeah.
I want to call upon all well-wishers to contribute either through M-Pesa or the bank account that I've given there. In 2 WhatsApp groups, I saw individuals saying, why do you go to politics if you don't have money?
Yeah.
I mean, George, do I look like I don't have money to feed myself, to clothe myself? I have. But you see, the responsibilities of the constituency are vast. They cannot be sustained on the pockets of an individual. For instance, on Sunday, I went to Matopeni village in Githogoro within Karura ward to help my people who had been afflicted by a fire. I mean, you want me to be raising all this money by myself? Because there is need for us to do that. So I call upon people to be magnanimous, to see the need to sustain a servant who has the capabilities, who has the wherewithal, who has the selflessness to serve you.
Right. They say once bitten, twice shy. The Kenyans who have that line of thought, I totally understand some of them, because they have in the past been called upon to contribute. I remember even during the NASA wave, when there was even a pay bill number for Kenyans to buy their tickets to Canaan. And when that journey was affected, there was no reimbursement. Talk to me a bit about how a Kenyan who is feeling like hii safari ya Havi is not going anywhere. So why should I waste my money?
Kuna msemo unasema kwamba tenda wema nenda zako hata kama utakosa fare ya kwenda. Sawa sawa. Did you see President Barack Obama when he was campaigning? The heel of his shoe was at 45 degrees. The campaign for Barack Obama was financed by the people who believed in his ability to serve the people of America. You understand? Yeah. Yes, there are certain instances where people have raised funds toward a cause that has failed. I can tell you without any fear of contradiction, 80% of my campaign for LSK president was financed by my colleagues in the legal profession and people outside the legal profession. In fact, at that point in time, I had not put out a call, but people were just sending me money. Look, use this for accommodation, use this for your posters, use this for your transport. And they have seen the benefit of helping and sustaining a good cause. So past experiences relate to other individuals. They don't relate to Nelson Havi. Right. Nelson Havi has the capacity, has the ability, he has a proven track record of producing good yield. So contribute, your seed will produce good yield.
Right. I want to end by looking at probably the relationship between the LSK and the Chief Justice's office. You have mentioned that CJ Kome doesn't recognize LSK leadership. This is part of what has been quoted in several media outlets. I'd like you to speak tonight, if she's listening, or her office is listening, or those concerned are listening. What is it that you'd want to pass across, even as you leave office as LSK leader? What is it that is your wish for whoever else is coming in when it comes to the coordination of relationships between these two offices?
Yeah, it's a matter of fact that her leadership, the Chief Justice, Martha Koome, does not respect and recognize the leadership of the Law Society. And this is not something new. Before her, there used to be a Chief Justice called Hancock's who manifested such a behavior. Yeah. You must have seen occasions where she's been photographed with a former CEO who was fired last year but has been sustained in office by individuals inside and outside the office. You must have seen her in meetings with the 8 council members who the members of the Law Society removed from office. Have you seen her with me or my vice president in a public gathering? But they could argue the same thing you argued with Deputy President William Ruto and President Uhuru Kenyatta. About
the
what?
pictures. You've taken pictures with the deputy president.
No, the point is this here, Anangwe.
Yeah.
She prefers to make decisions on the advice of individuals who are not elected officials of the Law Society. For instance, look at the senior bar, for instance.
Yeah.
Yeah, the senior bar elected their chair last year as Ahmed Nasir Abdullahi Senior Counsel. What has she been doing? She's been taking counsel from individuals who have entrenched themselves as the Mugabes of the senior bar for the last 30 years. But I must emphasize one thing. I do not prevail in unnecessary lamentations. These are issues that I've pointed out. Nelson Havi will leave office as President of the Law Society of Kenya on the 24th of March, 2022. The Chief Justice will have an opportunity of serving with another President of the Law Society. I've done my part. Whoever will come after me will do his or her part. He or she can have a better working relationship with the Chief Justice. I had a very good working relationship with the Chief Justice immediately before Martha Koome. I had, at one point in time, a strained relationship with the former Chief Justice, Dr. William Mutunga. But you've seen we work together with Dr. William Mutunga. He's been one of the senior counsel who has provided me with a lot of wisdom, guidance in the manner in which I serve as President of the Law Society. So these are public offices. We need to dichotomize them from personal differences. I don't have any personal differences with the Chief Justice.
Right.
I wish her the very best because she has a long period of time to serve as Chief Justice.
Right.
And for her to serve effectively, she'll require the assistance of all of us. I will provide her the assistance that I must provide, whether she takes it or she doesn't take it, because I'm obligated by the law to either give her the advice in private, or if she doesn't want to get the advice in private, she'll get it from Twitter or from your television station.
Right. Finally, there's a journey to Canada. Are you boarding? And that journey is to travel back with Miguna alongside CJ Emeritus Willy Mutunga. There are those who've said, Havi amefika wapi na hii safari? Is he still part of it? What is the end goal for this? What are the expectations? Do you see a smooth landing or a very turbulent one?
There's a myriad of court orders and one judgment that are determined as a matter of law that Miguna has to be allowed to come back to the country of his birth. Dr. William Mutunga and I had the purpose to travel to Canada to fly with him. But we may not be able, or speaking for myself, I may not be able to fly to Toronto because the visa process is taking long. The other possibility will be for me to fly to Germany, fly to France, and then come with him to Jomo Kenyatta if we manage to finalize the travel arrangements. We are in court tomorrow. It is our expectation that the court will give us a hearing to remove the red alerts so that if we're able to travel, we go and come back with Miguna. If we're not able to travel, then Miguna should be able to come back by himself, the red alerts having been removed, because there's no basis whatsoever. Look, and what is it they are fearing about Miguna? A story was told to me by former Attorney General Amos Wako that at one point in time, Moi was told there's a gentleman by the name Koigi Wamwere who says he will beat you pants down in the race for president. Then he was in exile. Then Nyayo said, but ambe nakuja sina bigana kwa debe. What are they fearing about Miguna? Let him come. He's a Kenyan. Let him come. He has a right to be here. He must be allowed to be here. You understand?
Yeah.
So it is my prayer that all will go well. Many of the things that Miguna may say may offend some people, but he has a right to say what he says. And in fact, he has a greater right to say that because he's been offended. His rights have been violated. And what have we done as Kenyans? We try and ridicule him? We castigate him? No, we shouldn't do that. Irrespective of what he has said or what he has done, he has a constitutional right to come back. And I, as the President of the Law Society of Kenya, I, as the biggest champion of the rule of law and the defense of the rights of every Kenyan, will be in the forefront of ensuring that Miguna comes back to Kenya on the 16th of November or any other day that will have to bring him back. He must come back home.
He must come back home. So you'll be able to give us some update tomorrow on the quest to remove the red alerts.
Yes.
Right. I want to end it at this, but let me quickly read some quick feedback that has come. Murithi Kanampiu says, what kind of legacy do you think or feel you'll have left at the LSK? Just maybe real quick, you must have mentioned this in the course of your conversation, but just for clarity purposes, just 30 seconds.
We've restored the lost glory of the Law Society.
Yeah.
It is now a wolf that is in charge.
Yeah.
Days where sheep used to lead wolf in the Law Society are long gone. That is the legacy I leave behind. I leave a legacy where those who wield the highest authority in this country complain that lawyers are checking them in the manner in which they function.
Yeah.
Nothing will give me greater joy than what I have left behind.
Yeah.
As I seek to exit the leadership of the Law Society of Kenya.
Yeah, but are you worried that whoever takes over and goes to bed with the institutions that you are trying so hard to keep in check, would that, water down all the effort? Is that something that gives you sleepless nights?
Not at all. I'm not worried.
Yeah.
And the reason why I'm not worried is because we have shown light in the manner in which the Law Society of Kenya is run.
Yeah.
We have demonstrated the areas of compromise, the areas of corruption. And lawyers are now more informed when they go to elect their president next year. I believe they'll make a good decision so that the person who succeeds me will be as good as myself, if not better.
Asante.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Nelson Havi, for making time to be part of the Bottom Line KE. It has nothing to do with the bottom-up approach.
Even if it had, why worry?
No, it doesn't. Let me just make that very clear.
Yes.
Asante sana. Thank you so much.
Night.
Asante.
Thank
Alex,
you, listeners and viewers.
Asante. Alex Mayore, thank you so much. I see you. Brian Okech as well. Asante ni sana for the tweets that have been coming in. Of course, Mimi Binti Abdullah says, mimi kama mama mboga, hii swala la kulipa kodi mara mbili kwa soko one side ni na Kanjo, the other side ni na Mungiki. How is he going to handle this? I'm thinking this is a resident of Westlands who feels like as a mama mboga, they pay so much.
And that's why, you see, Nangwe, I believe when I'm elected, the majority of my votes will have come from mama mboga. I went to Githogoro. You saw the affection with which those mamas treated me. I mean, the last time a mama held me like that must have been when I was a small boy, my mother holding me. But they have seen what I can do. They know Westlands will be in good hands under Nelson Havi. And Mama Betty has raised a very germane question. She has to deal with Kanjo, she has to deal with the Mongeki. We need good laws, we need proper oversight, we need infrastructural development that will enable Mama Mboga do her business without fear from the authorities or from criminals.
Right.
And that is something within my ability to deliver. Binti, if she is voting in Westlands or anybody who is in a similar position as her, yapaswa afahamu kwamba uwezo wa kuhakikisha kwamba biashara yake inafanywa bila dhulma kutoka kwa serikali ama wahaini itatekelezwa katika mikono ya Nelson Havi.
All right.
Asante.
Asante sana, Nelson Havi. That is Nelson Havi. Is it right to call you outgoing LSK president? Because you still seem to have
You call
time.
me the 49th president.
49th president of LSK.
Because president will always be president.
Asante sana.